Alright, peace, brothers and sisters. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving double honors to the Master Intelligence, which is the Creator Himself, Yahweh or Yehovah Himself, right? Give a double honors to 7130 South Chicago that taught me this truth. Give a double honors to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator has awoken in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. All right, brothers and sisters, what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about current events, things that's taking place on the world stage. But one of the things that I want to talk about is the chaos and confusion that's going on over there in the Gaza Strip. And that's been going on for years, decades and things of this nature, right? But, what is the history behind those type of things, and how can we relate to that dealing with scripture? Because most people that talk about that history that's going on over there with these people, they really don't have a thorough understanding about the history behind these type of things, right? So what are we talking about, right? We're talking about a rebel group by the name of Hamas, right? That supposedly parachuted on motorcycles and kites and things of this nature. They came over to what you would call the state of Israel, and they started, doing certain things to the people. Another thing Hamas is accused of shooting rockets and things of this nature, right? Dealing with the Jews, why I believe that they was practicing some of the feast days, right, in the land. So now it has sparked an all-out war and an assault on what you would call the Israeli fighting force and things of this nature. But I was listening to a guy, I think he goes by the name, his last name Blumenthal, but I think his name is Mark Blumenthal, if I'm not mistaken. He has a podcast, and it's called The Gray Zone, right? So in The Gray Zone, they talk about a lot of stuff that's dealing with the Jewish community, because I believe his name is Mark, but we just gonna call him Mr. Blumenthal. Blumenthal is a Jew himself, right? His parents were Jewish. So he had an opportunity as a kid to go over to the land of Israel and spend, a couple of months, and I think he was over there for a couple of years, staying over there as a kid. But originally he's from New York, right? But his family got ties to the land, right? It's because the Jewish community are occupying that area or that small little space over there, right? So he went over there as a kid, and eventually he started dealing over there as an adult. And he saw for himself a lot of the stuff that they're talking about in the media dealing with the Palestinians. A lot of that stuff is what you would call propaganda. It's because what's going on, brothers and sisters, is that the Jews really want to occupy all that land, is because they're telling the world that they are the people of the Bible. This is what they telling the people, see? But see, what we have to do is we have to put them on what you would call a litmus test. And what is the litmus test? The litmus test that we have to weigh them on. We got to weigh them on what we call the Bible. See? That's the litmus test. And if they don't pass the litmus test, brothers and sisters, then what are we talking about? See? But before we start that, we got to go into what Mark Blumenthal was saying, of the Great Zone podcast. If anybody listening to this when it goes out, go on his podcast, just type in the Great Zone, right? It's a Great Zone podcast. It's a Jewish guy by the name of, I believe, Mark Blumenthal. And what he does is he covers the news that's going on over there in quote unquote Palestine. See? And he's giving the people information that a lot of times the mainstream media doesn't give the masses of people. See, they don't do that. So what he's saying is that Hamas originally is a cancer that was created by quote unquote the Zionist movement. Well, you ask yourself, you say, well, why would they create something like that is eventually going to be against them in the future? Blumenthal was saying the reason why they created Hamas is because you got to go back into history. The people that's referred to as Hamas, they was originally what you would call the Muslim Brotherhood, and that the Muslim Brotherhood was basically funded by the Jews to control the Palestinians. This is not what I'm saying. This is what Blumenthal is saying. See, because he's been to Israel multiple times. Like I say, his cousins and things of this nature, they living over there, they're practicing Judaism, brothers and sisters, right? So he's telling some of the history behind this, and there's other history to back up what he's saying. So what they're saying is that originally the Jews created they created these people. Not so much they created that, but what we're saying is that they were funding these folks at first to control the Palestinians. It's because what Mark Blumenthal is saying is that the Jews have a great hatred towards the Palestinians. And there's a lot of news out there that is not being reported about the mistreatment of these people in the land, brothers and sisters. See, it's a lot of things that they're not telling you in the mainstream media. It's because the United States of America, a lot of these countries that have what you would call some type of pulse in the community, they control what stories goes out, and they control what story is going to be kept inside. You got to understand, the Palestinians, they don't really have a media like that. You know what I'm saying? You notice a lot of these countries that they're going against, a lot of them, they don't really have control over the internet like that. So a lot of times they can't even tell their story, you know. So it was an incident that happened maybe about 2 weeks ago or a week ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago, where Hamas had shot off rockets towards the Jews during the feast days. And then there's other reports that they came gliding in on motorcycles that was parachuted into what they would call the state of Israel and things of this nature, wreaking havoc. And Martin Blumenthal, he was making a statement. He was saying that, look, one of the reasons why they're doing this is because they have been declared the outcasts by, quote unquote, the Jewish community. And that the Jews treat them, see, they got them as, quote unquote, slaves and things of this nature. And so when you hear a lot of people, like I was listening to a brother by the name, he got his podcast on YouTube, it's called The Officer Tatum. And he was talking so-called Negro, he's sitting back defending the Jews. Well, why is he doing this? Because he's being manipulated by, quote unquote, the mainstream media. See, because the mainstream media thinks that the Jews are basically the people of the Bible, and that they're always being persecuted by these different nations or peoples that they come across. See, but they're not telling you what's going on behind the scenes. See, so Mark Blumenthal, he was going over a lot of this history and things of this nature, and this is what we're dealing with today. See, this is why they're in war with each other, because you got to go back into history. 1948, when they come over to the land, right? And I heard that they was trying to come back to Jerusalem as far as 1917. See, they been trying to come over there, but up under the British mandate, they was allowed to come over to the land that they call Palestine. And some of the first things that they were doing was they was kicking out a lot of the Palestinians that was already living over there, right? So you kick these people out, you put them on the desert, you create ghettos and things of this nature for them. And a lot of these folks, they got ties to the land, just like, quote unquote, the so-called Jews have ties to the land just as well, because, see, they've been living over there for centuries, see? So this is one of the reasons why you have a back and forth with them, right? But let's look at something, brothers and sisters, because, see, we don't want to keep rambling. Let's go into the scriptures, okay? So, because the scriptures has to be what you would call the litmus test. See, this got to be the litmus test. It's because you got to be able to go into the nation of Israel's history in order to understand who is Israel today, and they have to meet certain criteria. And if they don't meet those criteria, brothers and sisters, then they are not the nation of Israel, brothers and sisters. So most of the people around the world, they say that the Jews is in their land, right? But this is the litmus test right here, the litmus test, if I'm pronouncing it right. So the first scripture that we finna go to, right? We finna look at the 14th chapter of the book of Isaiah. Right? We're gonna look at the 14th chapter of the book of Isaiah, because, see, this is the litmus test to see who is supposed to be in this land, brothers and sisters. So let's look at this. It says, "For Yah will have mercy upon Yaakov, and will yet choose Israel." Isaiah 14:1. It says, and set them in their own land, right? So the Creator is going to take the nation of Israel, and he's going to set them in their own land. It said, so this is a future prophecy of the nation of Israel, their triumph over the nations. Is because, see, their God is going to fight their battles for them, see? So it says, "And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob," or the house of Israel. So when we look at the prophecy today, brothers and sisters, do you see the nations cleaving up under the Jews today? No, brother, you don't see that. See, let's look at, this is a quote coming from this book, right? It's called "Hiding the Hebrews: Did America Kidnap the Lost Tribes of Israel?" Right? By Dante Forson, right? This is a quote that he made. This is a quote that he got from Gamal Abdel Nasser, right? So let's look at what uh, Gamal Abdel Nasser said during his time. I think this is around the 60s or the 50s, right? I forgot what year this was, but Gamal Abdel Nasser was the president of Egypt during this time. Look what he says. It says, the late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated, the Jews will never be able to live here in peace because they left here black but came back white. Why is he saying this, y'all? Why is he saying this, brothers and sisters? Because majority of the people that understand the history of the Israelite understands that the Israelites were people of color, brothers and sisters. They understand this. Even though a lot of these nations have come together, they have made league with each other to put the nation of Israel into captivity, which is the so-called Negro, but they understand who the real nation of Israel is, brothers and sisters. They understand that. See? They're not ignorant to this. You know who's ignorant? Our people. We're the ones that's ignorant. So Abdel Nasser said this around the 1950s or the 60s. He said, or the 40s, he said, look, you left here you left here black and you came back white. Why would this man make this statement? That our people during this time, you didn't see Ash UPK on the streets during that time, brothers and sisters. We was asleep. You didn't see, all the brothers from One West. You didn't see people from Chicago, the House of Israel, Temple of Faith. You didn't see our people out here talking about, we weren't interacting with these people like this. So why would he make this statement? He's making this statement because he understands that the true Israelites were what? So-called black people, brothers and sisters. That's why he's saying this. During the time when he made this statement, the so-called Negro is wandering around, want to be just like the so-called white man. This is what we was doing. So we didn't sit down with these people and tell these, hey, we the children of Israel. They already know this. This is a quote from him during, I believe, the 1950s or the 60s. Because I think he ended up getting assassinated or something like that. He died. But this is what Gamal Abdel Nasser said during his time when he was the president of Egypt, brothers and sisters. So when we looking at the litmus test, see, it's not adding up, because look at this. It said in the first verse, it says, for Yah will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers, talking about the other nations, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob or Jacob. Do you see the Palestinians cleaving to these folks, brothers and sisters? You don't see that. You don't see that. And if the nation of Israel is the spokesman of the Creator, brothers and sisters, this is the litmus test that we have to look at. This is the history. Why is the Jews, why do they got atomic energy, y'all? Why they dealing with nuclear weapons? That shows you that they don't even have faith in the God that they supposed to be serving. See? Because when is all this going to take place? This got to take place during what you would call the building of the kingdom, which is a governmental structure. See? And when the Jews come over there in 1948, the people, they supposed to do what? They supposed to follow suit, brothers and sisters. Cleaving unto the nation of Israel only means that what? You gonna serve their God. They still worshiping Islam over there, brothers and sisters. They still doing that. So they're not cleaving to these folks. And this is not just the Jews. We gotta throw in Christianity. We gotta throw in Roman Catholicism and what? Islam just as well. Christianity, Islam, right? Roman Catholicism. You got to throw that in there too. It's because all of these folks have declared themselves as the spokesman of the Creator. See? The Christians do it too. They may not call themselves physical Israel, but what did they say? They said that they what? They spiritual Israel. See? But how you going to be spiritual Israel and you running around here, you conquering people, see? Under the name of a God that the nation of Israel never knew. So when it says, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Yaakov. Meaning that what? They going to do what? They're going to start following after the traditions, the customs and traditions that the Creator has laid down for the nation of Israel. You don't see that with the Palestinians, brothers and sisters. You don't see that around the world. You see a lot of people, they're against the Jews. See? It says, and the people shall take them, talking about Israel, and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yah for servants and handmaids, bro. So Israel coming to the land, or the Jews coming to the land in 1948, that's supposed to fulfill the prophecy. But why it doesn't fulfill prophecy? We're going to show that while we continue to read. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yah for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. Now we got to look at modern day history today. When in history is the nation of Israel in the captivity under the nations? Now, you can go back to the Holocaust, but prior to the Holocaust, they was not in captivity. Do you understand that they ruled the economical system, the structure over there in Germany during that time? They was in control over that type of stuff. So they're not in slavery, see? And the situation that happened over there with the Holocaust and things of this nature, that was what? This is one religion warring against another religion. This ain't no slavery, see? So where else do you find them being in slavery? And let's not go back to Egypt, brothers and sisters. It's because when you look at the walls over there in Egypt, the original people that's over there was just like what Gamal Abdel Nasser just said. They was people of color. See? They people of color. They so-called black folks. So when we hear people like Max Kellerman talking about his ancestors was in slavery in Egypt, brothers and sisters, we got to correct him on that. Your people was not in slavery in Egypt, brothers. Those were the so-called black people that was in slavery in Egypt. So when we looking at the litmus test, they're failing the litmus test. And what is the litmus test? It got to be scripture. It got to be prophecy. The nations around the world, do you see Syria cleaving up under the Jews? No. See? Do we see the Palestinians? Do we see the what you call the Egyptians? They're not cleaving to these folks. They're not putting down Islam to follow those people. See? They're not doing that. So here it is, the people that we look into on the media, right? And talking about that they are the people of God and all this time. They're not even the people of the Creator. So what's really going on over there in Palestine? How are we looking at this situation? You know what's going on? This is judgment by the Creator. It's because these are some of the people that put our people in slavery, brothers and sisters. And yes, the Jews had a hand in the transatlantic slave trade. See? All of these nations, they had their foot on our neck. See? So when we looking at this, this is the terror and the destruction of the Creator, because what's going to happen is these people, the Creator is gearing these folks to do what? They're going to fight each other, brothers and sisters. They about to fight. They already fight. But when we talking about fighting, what's going to happen is this finna turn nuclear. See? This is going to, and this ain't just over there in Palestine. This is around the world. Because who in power today? It's the Caucasian or the Euro-Gentile world power system. They in power. See? And the Creator put them in power for a time and a season. And now is the time for them to do what? To be removed out of power, brothers and sisters. See? This is what we looking at. The people that declare themselves as Israel is not Israel. Let's look at a scripture on that. Let's turn to the 44th chapter of the book of Isaiah. We're going to start reading at the 5th verse. It says, one shall say, I am Yah's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. Isn't that what the Christians do? See? Isn't that what the Jews do? Isn't that what the Muslims do? They say that they what? They spiritual Israel, but the Jews are saying that they are the original people. See? This is prophecy, because the nation of Israel, eventually, they're not going to be able to maintain their history, brothers and sisters. See? They're going to be called the Negro, the colored man, the coon. See? Our history is going to be wiped away from us. We're not going to know history. We're not going to be able to speak Hebrew, see? Or Hebrew. We're not going to be able to do those things. We're going to be persecuted by the nations. And the same nations that's going to persecute you are the same nations that's going to do what? They're going to adopt your history. Do you understand that these people, they're really Germans, Polish, right? English, and many other Caucasian nations that have done what? That have taken on your customs and traditions. Let's continue. One shall say, I am Yah's, and another shall call himself by the name of Yaakov, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh, and surnamed himself by the name of Israel. And see, this is what we seeing when we looking at the Jewish community, brothers and sisters. These people are calling themselves Israel via a religion. See? This is what they doing. And just because you know Hebrew, just because you practice the customs and traditions of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, don't mean that you're an Israelite by blood, see? But we don't know this is because of what? It's because they have taken control over the mindset of the people. They even took our history, which is the Bible, brothers and sisters. The Bible is the so-called black man's history. And they have infiltrated it. They done put in certain words, triggers into the history that every time that you hear something, you're going to think of who? The so-called white. This is how crafty these people are. The concept or the word Jew should not be in the Bible, brothers and sisters, because the term Jew comes from the Hebrew word, which is what? Yehuda. See? But you can't translate the word Yehuda into the word Jew, brothers and sisters. You can't do it. When our people was persecuted during the 1400s, the fifth, they didn't call themselves Jews, brothers and sisters. This is a name that these folks have taken on for themselves. See, and we're not just talking about the Jews. We're talking about Islam just as well. We're talking about Christianity, because they look at themselves as spiritual Israel just as well. See. They look at them as spiritual Israel, and they're gonna go to the Bible to try to declare themselves as some type of people. So the situation that's going on over there in the country is basically a war that is going to take place. It's already taking place, but what we're talking about is a nuclear war that's going to take place. See? They gonna stop protesting, and they gonna turn that, just like they did a couple of weeks ago. They gonna start shooting rockets. See, they're already doing that. So it behooves us as a nation of people, like when we're looking at these type of things, we have to see. We have to be looking through the lens of the Creator, man. What is the Creator telling us today? The Gentile world power system is over. See? It says, we back at the 14th chapter of the book of Isaiah. It says, the 3rd verse, and it shall come to pass in the day that Yah shall give thee rest from thy sorrows. Is the Jews getting rest from their sorrows today, brothers and sisters? No, brothers and sisters. They fighting. They steady fighting. When the real Israelites return back to the land, brothers and sisters, there's no more fighting. And see, when the real Israelite return to the land, the nations, the reason why they got rest from all of the destruction that's taking place is because the Creator would have done what? He would have devastated the nations, y'all. He would have devastated them. The Palestinians ain't devastated. Come on now. Why they not devastated? It's because the world today they haven't even started the World War III in terms of the nations going to war against one another. See? And when nations go to war against each other this last time, their economical system is going to be destroyed. Their religious system is going to be destroyed. The moral fabric of the people is going to be destroyed, brothers and sisters. So when it says, and it shall come to pass in the day of Yah, it says, in that day that Yah shall give thee rest from thy sorrows. Why is that? Because Yah will have weakened the nations. Because he's the reason why they're in power. See? He put them in power, and he's going to take them out of power. But you know, when the people talk about this, when they get their commentaries, they don't even go to scripture. They speaking from an emotional standpoint of view. Ever since the Jews came over there, they've been terrorized a month. Look at the terror that they done committed amongst us. Why do you think that we was over there in Syria? I'm talking about these folks over here in America. Why did the war start in Syria? It's because the Jews want that land over there. See? So the United States, along with the Jews, they came against the Syrian people, right? And that's why Russia got involved in it, because Russia is an ally to Syria. Because the land of Syria is what? The land of Damascus. That's Abraham's land. So when we looking at all these different wars that's going on, the reason why they warn against these people is because they want to control that landmass over there. But the landmass that they want to control is not even theirs. It's because the scripture is clearly saying when these people return back to the land of their ancestors, they're not going to be dealing with sorrow. They're not going to be dealing with destruction. Ever since these people came over here, they've been dealing with chaos and confusion and what? Destruction. Because why? They have surnamed themselves after who? Jacob, y'all. That's why they dealing with this. So what is this? This is judgment from the Creator, brothers and sisters. Because the Creator put them in power. It's because there's no way that the nation of Israel is going to be able to maintain their history if they're in slavery. So it says, and it shall come to pass in that day, Yah shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear. Fear of what? Fear of the other nations. See? Because when they had us in slavery, we was in grave fear, brothers and sisters. We was in fear of these nations. And deep down, we still scared of them even to this day. See? We have a lot more freedom than we had back then, but we afraid of these folks, man. Because why? Look, they sold our kids as alligator bait. See? They used our kids as alligator bait. They whipped our foreparents. They killed us in the streets. They raped the women. They set up Jim Crow laws in the land. See? Even to this day, in 2023, what do they do to Eric Garner? They choked Eric Garner in the street. They killed Trayvon Martin. See? Huh? So when the real people return to the land, it says what? And from thy fear and from the hard bondage. What's that hard bond? That's slavery, brothers and sisters. When we look at the Jews, modern day history today, there's no history of them dealing in what? Slavery. See? So how's them? How are those people? How are those people the people of the Bible, brothers and sisters? They failed the litmus test. Vlad TV, which is a podcast on YouTube. He got over 1 million something subscribers. Vlad is a Russian Jew. Vlad said he don't even believe in the Creator, but he knows that he's Jewish from what? His ancestors, because that's what his ancestors was following. Judaism. See, but do you know that Judaism really has nothing to do with the nation of Israel's history, brothers and sisters? Because the nation of Israel didn't call themselves Jews 2,000 years ago. But we don't understand this is because why? Because of what? The Renaissance, y'all. The Renaissance and other histories that's before this. That's why we have to go back into history. I'm going to read that third verse again because this is a powerful verse, man. It says, and it shall come to pass in the day that Yah shall give thee rest from thy sorrow. So the nation of Israel, what are they going? They're going to be mourning. See? The Jews weren't really mourning over there in Germany before the Holocaust. They weren't mourning because they controlled the economical system over there. See? So when they return to the land, they're not going to be mourning anymore. It says, and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Why was the Israelites made to serve in the first place? Because they was following after false gods, brothers and sisters. See? They was following after false gods. It says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Yah have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. See? So why they saying this? It's because why? It's because the Creator is the one that delivered them out of the hands of the slave master. And during this time, that's talking about future and present. See? Past and future. Because the people that return to the land today, if they are the people of the book, then what? They ain't gonna be no sorrow over there. Ain't gonna be no sorrow. And the nations, they gonna cleave unto the nation of Israel. Because why? They're gonna be able to give people the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Creator, brothers and sisters. Let's look at another scripture. Let's turn to the book of Zephaniah. I think Zechariah, the 14th chapter. Let's see something. See, they fell in. They fell in the litmus test, brothers and sisters. You got to be able to go in the scriptures. These people ain't the people of the book, man. Let's look at this. 14th chapter of the book of Zechariah. And I'm going to start reading. I'm going to start reading at the 16th verse, because I don't want to be too long. It says, and it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yah of hosts. Come on, brothers and sisters. You got Christians today still talking about what? Jesus, y'all. They still saying Jesus is Abraham's God. See? Because according to history, they the ones that came against the nation of Israel too. Let them tell it. The Muslims, all these nations that done came against the nation of Israel. See? What they gonna say? And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to worship the King, Yah of hosts, and keep what? The Feast of Tabernacles. You don't see that. The Palestinians, they not keeping the feast days. They're not doing that. See, they invading the state of Israel. They trying to fight against they shooting rockets. Why is that? Because the nation, the Jews, they came over there bogus. See, they bogart these people. They doing the same thing to these people as they was treated in Nazi Germany, brothers and sisters. They won't even let these people plant food. They won't even let them control land in their country. They bulldoze in their houses while their children is in there. Huh? They practice racism in the country. Our people which came over there in the 1960s under the kingdom of Yah, Ben Amin and them, right? They came over there, I think like 1969 or something like that. They've been living over there ever since. Do you know that they put our people on the land that they call, the city that they call Dimona? And they knew when they was putting them over there that it was a toxic waste dump. Now these people been planting food and stuff like that. And now these people, what are they doing? They catching cancer, brothers and sisters. See, is that the people of the light? Is that what they supposed to be doing? And then the people that died off natural causes through old age and things of this nature, they was buried, or whatever they was dying from, they were buried over there in the country. Do you know that the Israeli police force, they done destroyed these people's burial site? They didn't want our people to be buried next to them. See? So you got a lot of these folks, they still looking for the bones of their family that done died over there 20 and 15 years ago. See? Come on now. We don't know that history. And what are they talking about? The people gonna come and keep the Feast of Tabernacle. They ain't just keeping the Feast of Tabernacle. They gonna be dealing with what? The feast days. There's no more Islam over there. There's no more Christianity. See? When is the nation of Israel gonna come over to the land, really? It gotta be after what? The Third World War, what they would call the Battle of Armageddon, brother. The Battle of Armageddon, we're in the middle stages of that. We're in the middle stages of that, brothers and sisters. There's no bombs dropping like that. America ain't destroyed. That's how you know that these ain't the people of the Bible. Vlad TV said, there's no God. He claimed to be Jewish, but he's an atheist, though. That's not the mindset of the nation of Israel. See? 17 verse. And it shall be that whosoever will not come up of all the nations of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yah of hosts, even upon them shall be what? No rain. See? We don't see that today. They still following their way of life. Because why? The Creator hasn't really devastated them to the point where they gave up they culture. They gave up they traditions to follow after the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel has not set up a governmental structure that is going to be what? Free to all, brothers and sisters. That's what the nation of Israel has to set up. They're not doing that today. So, brothers and sisters, we got to get in tune, right, about what's going on. These people are not the people of the Bible, brothers and sisters. This ain't them. See? You looking at the people of the Bible. But see, a lot of you don't want to accept that because you already classified us as who? Coons and shines. Niggas. That's what you got us looking at. Let's look at this. The second chapter of the book of Isaiah, the second verse. It shall come to pass in the last days that the mountains of Yah's house shall be established in the top of the mountain, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. They're going to do what? They're going to follow the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See? You don't see that over there with these nations. That's what shows you that they're not the people. See? Because what? They're not fulfilling prophecy. And even with some of our people that done came over there, right? Even though a lot of them is not supposed to be over there either, but even with our people that's coming over there, some of them pallets, they not bothering our people like that. See? Because we're not coming over there trying to persecute them. And many it says, and many shall go and say, come ye, let us go up to the mountain of Yah, to the house of the Elohim of Yaakov, and he will teach us his ways. So they not going to be following Christianity, brothers and sisters. There's nobody going to be there talking about that they what? That they are Christians. There's nobody that's going to be talking about that they follow Islam or Buddhism or any other tradition that they got going on. See, they're going to be taught by the nation of Israel. You don't see that today. That's how you know that these people are not the people of the Bible. See? I don't care if they can speak Hebrew. It doesn't matter. See? It says he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his path. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yah from Jerusalem. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, we got to stay in tune. With that being said, peace and shalom.